people look at it as like, oh, if someone has the skills, they're automatically going to get the best job possible in the world for that. One thing I think I missed, or at least underestimated at the beginning of this journey, was just how complicated it is to hire internationally and how complicated it is to get jobs internationally. And so once you realize that that notion of ready-made talent that like people can just go out and hire doesn't actually exist. There are lots of things that make it complicated. How do you figure out payroll? How do you figure out global compliance? How do you figure out the assessment process in a world where you've never heard of the university someone attended or the previous 3 jobs they worked at? You could be an extraordinarily talented human who has the exact right skill set. And if you don't have exposure to the right people, experience in the right environments, if you don't have part of what the traditional tech world would look at as like the obvious markers of quality to de-risk, then you combine that with international and people are really reluctant to hire. And so what talent needs is an opportunity. It's really simple. And by doing really meaningful assessments, by creating a filtering mechanism to find that extraordinary talent and help show just how capable he or she is, we're able to help people meaningfully accelerate their careers and just get better jobs than they otherwise would be able to. The average engineer that gets a job through Andela, their first job increases their take-home pay 87%. It nearly doubles their salary. So what does talent need? I think people like that. I think that's a perk. It's that, and it's a harder, more interesting challenge. Like it's the opportunity to solve bigger problems with companies that are more on the cutting edge. We're seeing dramatic like democratization of talent and sort of flattening of the world and how people operate. And so, we work with some of the largest companies in the world and some of the fastest growing, most interesting startups who are now thinking very differently about how they think about global talent and building out their teams. The reasons that they do it and the reasons to do it is because you can increase quality by increasing the size of your available talent pool. So if you're looking at, hiring someone for a specific role and your talent pool is your block, like you're highly unlikely to end up with a good result. But if it's your city, it gets a bit better. If it's your country, a bit better still. If it's the world, you have a dramatically higher chance if you have the means to distribute your message and actually like figure out how to navigate that pool of talent. Your probability of success goes up dramatically. Like there's someone who is going to be an amazing candidate for you. And so there's always been like a mathematical advantage in increasing the size of your talent pool. The question is, what are the costs that come with that? And what's happened over the past couple of years is that the world's gotten really comfortable with remote really quickly. So that shift has realigned people's thinking around what are the actual costs of international and of globalizing their workforce. There are lots of little components of the hiring process that in totality make international hiring much more complicated. But if you do it well, it's a game changer. You can dramatically increase access to talent. You can have a much more efficient overall spend on how you think about labor for your team, how you think about building teams in general. You can get more done basically, but you have to know how to do it well.